We'll give it a minute.
It started.
Yeah, no, it's all right. Giving it a minute. Good evening, everyone. Big John here, Pat. As you can see, we're both together because we're in Northern Ireland and we're in Linen Square, as in linen to do with clothes. And Pat will tell you more about that in a minute. We've also got the mighty Paul Rimmer with us, so we're going to do half an hour on Northern Ireland. And I cannot believe, guys, how many Union flags I've seen today is more than I've ever seen in anywhere in Oldham or the Northwest. And I was going on about this the other week on a stream, and I can't believe it. I wanted Pat, I wish we had more days so Pat could just drop me on that road, Ballymena Road, which is about 100 mile long, and I just go post all the leaflets. It was that beautiful. But yeah, so we're in Northern Ireland. Tomorrow is the Orange March. A lot of history, but it's history that can't be forgotten, whether it's good or bad. And I hope that one day I'll be over here filming the Catholics when they go on a march. And I'm not the one to take sides. I'm not. I know the history runs deep in Ireland and it's personal, but I'm a different breed, me. I'm a new breed, and I want to bring everyone together for the whole of Great Britain, our country. That's what we need to do. With us being split up, it's just like they do in schools, how they indoctrinate us to be different and to not like what other people do. We have to get beyond that if we're going to go anywhere. So all this troubles between two different people, if you don't stop that, guys, it's logical that you'll never get any better, because we're always in a fight. And I go on about this all the time. We all go on about this, how they use these things to divide us. But I'll carry on. I'll leave it to Pat, our history man today. He's been buzzing with the history of Ireland, learning it because we're coming over. And I have as well. I had to do research on the Battle of Orange and Prince of Orange and that. Pat's found out a lot more. But yeah, it's our history. It needs to be remembered and never forgotten.
Yeah.
But over to you, Pat.
Yeah, thank you very much, John. So me and John are in Northern Ireland, and we specifically came over here to network with people, spread the message. We've got our first new member today, Steve O'Kane, well-known YouTuber, Ragnar Iron Spear. We're going to meet Jolene Bunting later on and probably see a few bonfires tonight. And obviously it's the 12th of July tomorrow, massive celebration for a large section of the community in Northern Ireland. And we really do need to remember our history, whatever side it's on. You know, we need to remember it. And I've found out some interesting stuff recently because I love history. And, you know, a quick recap of what this celebration tomorrow is the Battle of the Boyne. And what was basically happening was the King of England, correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, but let me carry on. The King of England, King James, was Catholic, and he was trying to regain the throne, and he joined forces with King Louis in France. France were a major superpower in Europe at the time. They were trying to take over Europe. So King James made a pact with France, and France were going to go to the French troops were going to use Ireland as a springboard to then attack England and invade England. King William of Orange came along and put a stop to it at the Battle of the Boyne and was victorious. And the interesting thing about all this is the Vatican were backing William of Orange. The Vatican, who are Catholic, were openly backing William of Orange because they didn't want the French taking over Europe. They saw them as a threat. So when the victory happened at the Battle of the Boyne, there was church bells in Catholic churches ringing all around Europe because of the victory at the Battle of the Boyne. So it's not straightforward. There was many conscripts in William's army who were Catholic as well. And there was people in Scotland who supported James, King James. It was a very technical situation, and I'm sure the mighty Paul Rimmer will know more about it. Over to you, Paul.
Well, the key date is 1688, the Glorious Revolution. James II, who was the son of Charles I, the king who was beheaded in the Civil War, he succeeded his brother, Charles II, and in 1683. And he was a Catholic king for a Protestant country, because by then England had become staunchly Protestant and staunchly anti-French, as you say, Pat. Now, the English put up with James, thinking because he'd been married to a Protestant in his first marriage, and he had heirs to his throne who were two Protestant girls, Queen Anne, Princess Anne, and Princess Mary. So the English thought, well, we'll just wait till he dies, James. But James started to maneuver and build up Catholic forces around himself. And then his wife died. He had a second marriage, and they produced a son, a Catholic son. And the English said, oh dear, we've got a Catholic dynasty now. We can't put up with that. So the Bishop of London and 7 of the leading Protestants in London and in the British establishment, they invited William of Orange from Holland to come over and take the throne of James II, which he did in 1688, the Glorious Revolution. He arrived at Brixham Harbour in Devon, and he declared that England will remain a Protestant country, and the constitution was established that the liberty of the English people would be confirmed. Because one of the fears the English had with the Catholics was that they were domineering, they were absolutists, like Louis XIV in France, who was, as you say, was the superpower of the age, the French. And the British feared that they were going to be dominated by the French. So they chased, eventually, the Duke of Marlborough, Winston Churchill's great-great-grandfather. He chased James II off the throne. James went into exile, got support from the French king, and then went to Ireland. Ireland was still largely Catholic, although there was a considerable Protestant community in Dublin and in Northern Ireland, where you are now in Belfast, the linen country, Linen Square. Anyway, James went over to Ireland to re-establish himself as the king of the British Isles. And they had the siege, the famous siege of Derry, where he failed to take Derry. And then King Billy sailed from the Wirral near Liverpool with his army to Belfast Lock, Carrickfergus, and he met the army of King James, which was a largely Catholic army, Irish Catholic army, and the French army. The French had sent troops over. They met at the Battle of the Boyne, south of Belfast in County Louth, and William was victorious. And eventually James surrendered and left, and the Protestant ascendancy, it was called, but the Age of Liberty dawned in Britain. And the Protestants of Ireland have always celebrated this day, July the 12th, but it was a day of liberty because a new constitution was created in England, the Bill of Rights. Every British person in the British Isles was given the habeas corpus. They were given rights as subjects of the king. And the Protestants, of course, were liberated from Catholic oppression. And this day, July the 12th, was the Battle of the Boyne. It was the day that King William of Orange, hence the Orange Order, was established as the Protestant king of the British Isles. And we've been Protestant ever since. I mean, when Charles III was crowned recently, he had to confirm his oath of allegiance to the Protestant faith. This is a faith based on scripture and based on the liberty of Englishmen. And so that's what we celebrate in Northern Ireland tomorrow. And I'll be going to Southport on Merseyside. We celebrate it there. We're trying to move away from sectarianism. We have a battle now to defend the British Isles. We're being invaded by third world hordes. So we have to defend all the people of the British Isles have to come together. But we've got to remember our history. There are important dates in Catholic history which predate the Reformation. And of course, the Catholics now have liberty as well. They have complete liberty. They can vote. They can form their political parties. And we need to come together. But we must remember our history, that liberty is important because it's under threat. Free speech is under threat. Freedom of assembly is under threat. Our very existence as a nation is under threat. And this is one of those days when one section of the community come together to celebrate. So I hope you guys in Belfast have a great day tomorrow, and I'm sure you're feeling the buzz, guys, because there's a real buzz around Belfast.
We do, Paul, we do. And it's important, like Paul said, to remember everything. I didn't know about this battle. Now, if it would have gone the opposite way, what would England have turned out like? Would it have turned into a European, like French, like I don't know. It could have really turned, and nobody talks about this battle. Not in England, they do. We talk about World War II and one, but we don't talk about the other battles. The Battle of the Orange. We don't talk about it, and we should do, because all this is British history. And if it weren't for the people sticking up in Ireland for themselves, we could have been invaded by another foreign power who, at the time, would have been going into colonialism. So, it could have been, England could have been a very different place. But, it's amazing that these things go on. And even I'm a history buff, and I didn't know about it. So,
Yeah, so this area we're in now is called the Linen Quarter in central Belfast. And apparently this is the area where they've done a lot of the, made a lot of the linen and stuff. And yeah, it's nice in Belfast. It's really terrible weather at the moment, unfortunately. We had a good flight over. Unfortunately, John's flight got delayed, so we were delayed a little bit, but we got here safe and sound. And there's a lot of people here celebrating. All the hotels are full. And like Paul said, we need to celebrate the history and just remember our history. But at the same time, we must come together. Like, the Republic of Ireland is absolutely being destroyed through this tsunami of asylum seekers, which the EU is promoting. And we're just hoping that the EU collapses soon, and maybe the Republic can come in for an economic union with the UK. You never know, because at the end of the day, the British Isles, we all speak the same language. We're all Christians. We've got to come together and try and preserve our history, culture, and traditions.
We've not only got a shared heritage, Pat, we're the same blood. I mean, I've got Irish ancestors that come from Galway, from County Kerry, as well as from County Antrim in Northern Ireland. And Liverpool, Manchester, Birmingham, London. In the 19th century, millions of Irish people came to live in these cities and integrated into these cities. And of course, millions of Scottish people went to live in Ulster, and many went from Ulster to create the United States of America. But we've mixed up. I describe the British Isles. It's like a washing machine, and the people have just moved around for thousands, to over 10,000 years. The Scots have moved to England, the England have moved to Ireland. I mean, the Scots themselves were an Irish tribe that conquered Scotland in the 7th and 8th century. So, once the Romans left, the Irish started to colonize England. That's why the Saxons came to England, to fight off the Irish. So we've all been mixing. There's all sorts of battles through history. This is just one of the key moments. Now, a big thing about the Battle of the Boyne was it was part of a European-wide war. Pat talked about the Pope backing King Billy because he was terrified of Louis XIV of France, who sponsored James II, who was trying to get his throne back, the English crown. And so the battle was really to stop what was called absolutism. Like, the king would have absolute power and was despotic. The French had no rights. They had to submit to the king. He was called a sun king. He was like God on earth. The English didn't want that. The English wanted freedom. They wanted rule through a parliament so that the people could decide on the level of taxes and the people could decide on what government we have. Now, we live in an age today where we don't seem to have democracy. No one listens to the people anymore. So really, the spirit of the Battle of the Boyne, the spirit which defied James, we need that spirit again today. But can I just ask you, Pat, have you seen the City Hall in Belfast? The City Hall?
Not yet, but we will do. We will do. It's one of the things I want to go to. We'll do a couple of videos, but we haven't seen it yet. Hopefully, maybe soon. Maybe soon.
Yeah, because we was visiting Ballymoney today, and but yeah, I think I saw it on our travels today when we was driving around.
It's right to the heart of Belfast. Right to the heart of Belfast, right to the centre.
Yeah. So it's really difficult to hear you, Paul. We haven't got a proper volume on this. So I mean, have you been to Belfast before yourself, Paul, and experienced parades
I've been to Belfast 10 times. I mean, I had a famous case at the Lagging Courts in Belfast. There's two rivers in Belfast. The Belfast is the bridge over the Fast, and the Lagging. The two rivers, they come into Belfast Lock. And I had a famous case, a hate speech case it was supposedly, at Lagging Court between 2017 and 2019 with Paul Golding from Britain First. We had a rally in Belfast and we got arrested afterwards. But by the mercy of God and justice prevailed, I was found not guilty. But it meant I had to go to Belfast many times and I made many contacts over there. They love meeting people from Britain, from Great Britain, and they're very open-hearted people. And they're very faithful people as well, a very strong church over in Belfast. So you connect with people and you'll see how open-hearted they are.
Thank you for that, Paul. Thank you for that. So guys, we're in Belfast. Obviously, I don't know my history that well, and I'm not supporting any particular side, but I'm going to be filming tomorrow. Watch out for a live stream. Looks like it's a good signal within the city centre, so I should be able to live stream. Hopefully, I'll be getting some interviews as well, and a few words said by various people, Jolene, hopefully, and I'm hoping to bump into a few other people. And there's a group from London up already, which is about 10 to 15 strong football lads, various Patriots. So we're going to meet up with them sometime over the next couple of days. But yeah, it's good. And, you know, I love travelling, me. I get on everywhere, me, Paul. I'm happy. I like taking me pictures. I have actually brought me Pokemon thing because it'll highlight the blue plaques within Belfast. And you know yourself, them blue plaques have links to a lot of history around the area. So I'm hoping to get some good blue plaque shots of my Pokemon tomorrow with real history. It's one of the things I play it for, to get them blue plaques. So it's going to be an interesting day. And I doubt I'm going to be able to sleep anytime much tonight or tomorrow until I'm coming home.
What do you expect to see tomorrow, guys? There's going to be bands galore. There's going to be massive crowds. People celebrated to party. Getting to the spirit, guys, would be brilliant. What do you expect to see tomorrow,
Pat? I don't drink and I do drink, but I won't be having much because I'm going to be busy filming tomorrow, so I can't get too tanked up tonight. Definitely not. There'll be a lot of running around tomorrow, leaning, lifting my pole up and my camera, so I'm going to be busy.
Yeah, just to let the viewers know, we've had a successful officers meeting last night, very productive, new members, new candidates. You know, we need money for the leaflets, for the new candidates. So if you can donate to our campaigns, you can go to our website, nationalhousingparty.uk. There's a donate button there. And, yeah, we have an officers meeting once a month. And it's, you know, to talk about the progress of the party and our goals and what we're trying to do. So we've got our first member today in Northern Ireland, which I'm very pleased with, because Northern Ireland is a special place in my heart. I've got a lot of family from Northern Ireland, from the south and the north. And, you know, I do feel that the mainstream parties have forgotten about Northern Ireland. They just sold them down the river. They've let them sail off into the EU Customs Union. When I come over on the plane, on my phone, it said EU roaming thing or something. Did you get that?
No.
I thought, what a liberty. We're still in the UK and they're trying to say we're roaming in the EU. And, but yeah, it's, everything's going well, and onwards and upwards. Big things are going to happen, people, in the next 2 years politically in this country. It's going to be a political earthquake. We're in it to win it. We are ready. We're registered. We've applied in Northern Ireland to be registered. We're looking for candidates all over the UK. And I'm very optimistic about the party's progress. And John Lawrence is doing a great job as the leader. Paul Rimmer's doing a great job as a spiritual leader. And, you know, everything's good. We're a happy party. We don't go around slagging people off on the internet and saying horrible things about people and, you know, causing trouble. we're just in it for the country. We love our country, and we want to take part in local elections. I'm standing. I'm just about to get my leaflet ready. It's about to go to print. I don't know. Did you see my leaflet, Paul? I sent it to you in the email.
I'm going to have a good read of that later, Pat. Now, you're in Northern Ireland, the 6 counties of Ulster. County Antrim, County Down, County Armagh, County Tyrone, County Fermanagh, and County Londonderry. They are part of the United Kingdom. Ulster is British. And you'll see the Union Jacks flying, the flags of Ulster. The Ulster Protestants are the heart of Britain. They're very proud people, and they're proud of their heritage. And they have fought for centuries for their freedom and for their independence, and to remain part of Britain is something they really value. And we need that patriotic spirit on the mainland. We've got to fight now for our country. We're under severe threat right across Europe now. There's an invasion taking place. We're being dispossessed and replaced by third world hordes. We have to assert ourselves. Like the people of Ulster say, Ulster is British. It's their land. Now we have to assert that in Britain. Britain is British. And when we see those Union flags flying, that reminds us England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Wales. We've got to come together and unite and defend our homeland. And the spirit will be there tomorrow, Pat. So soak up that spirit. Soak it in.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait. I can't wait, honestly.
And the passion, it's fantastic, Pat.
We're just jumping in. Gerald, our PayPal address is scrolling on bottom, and a link to the website's there, and there's links on the website where you can donate and that. Anything would be welcome. Thank you very much, Gerald. We've run several elections, and every one has more or less been successful. And we've had a lot of promotion. We're over all the hope not hate sites, so we must be doing well. Except for they didn't mention our last results because we did really good. When Pat says across the country, we're looking at now having at least 2 candidates in the Wirral, one in Leicester, one in Oldham, Manchester, and Pat in London, possibly more. So we're looking at that. But thank you, Gerald. Like I said, the links are there, and a link to our website, nationalhousingparty.co.uk there.
Yeah, you can easily go onto the website, and as soon as the website opens up, there's a donate button there, and you can either donate through PayPal or directly with your credit card or debit card. So, yeah, everything's looking good. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. I've always said to myself, you know, I would love to experience the 12th of July celebrations in Belfast, and I'm really glad I've come. Looking forward to it tomorrow, and, you know, we must preserve our traditions, our celebrations, and our history, and it's going to be a good day tomorrow.
Pat, what I want you to emphasise over there when you speak to the people of Ulster is that we are the National Housing Party, United Kingdom, UK, because that means a lot to the people of Northern Ireland, that we stand for the whole UK. We're not a party, we're not sectarian, we're not dividing the people of the British Isles, we're uniting them. We're not an English party, we're not a Scottish, we're not a Welsh, we're not an Irish. We cross all the 4 home countries and we bring them together, the United Kingdom. And when you say that tomorrow, that you've come to show your support from Britain for the people of Ulster, they'll take that to heart. They'll really appreciate that, Pat. So make sure you emphasise that tomorrow. The National Housing Party.UK, United Kingdom. The British United will never be defeated.
Oh, thank you, James, and thank you, Gerald. We will. Honestly, I'm excited. My heart's thumping now. We're talking about it, and if you see anyone else's live stream, you'll see me at the front of the match. You'll see me with my big stick up and filming everything. I've got all my equipment here, so yeah, I am. We're looking forward to it. It just brings me back because I started back doing this on big demos anyway, but. Again, it's our history. I'll get a lot of footage, and I'll probably do a show again later on. Maybe get Jolene on in a couple of weeks. We can talk more about the history and that. And Paul, that'll be a good one. But yeah,
And I do believe, I mean, I don't watch GB News anymore because it's just too politically correct for me. But I do know Arlene Foster, who is a regular presenter on there now. She's doing a live thing with GB News at the Belfast celebrations, which is a new thing because you wouldn't get that with Sky News or BBC, you know. And I'll tell you another thing, yeah. Living in London and you know, watching the Twitter and the mainstream media, you would think you'd never see a Union Jack in Northern Ireland anymore because they're like, oh yeah, it's going to be a United Ireland.
Honestly, we have.
we drove from the airport to Ballymoney like miles. Took us an hour, and all we saw was Union flags and the Ulster banner. That's all we saw along the way, and it was a glorious sight. Very emotional. Incidentally, the Ulster banner, there's a bit of history behind the because I always wondered why it was a St David's cross, because it's a St David's cross, isn't it?
No, it's actually the cross.
Like Ulster used to be well, Ulster still is it was 8 counties, but when they split to the Republic and Northern Ireland, they only used 6 counties of Ulster, and that's why they got 6 points on the Star, apparently.
And it's on a white background with a red cross, but whether that's anything to do with England, I don't know. But
go on, Paul. What you going to say?
It's the flag. It's the cross of St George with the red hand of Ulster in the middle, and as you say, the 6-pointed star, which is the 6 counties of Ulster. Yeah. Now, tomorrow, Pat and John, get your colours. Get yourself some Union flags. Buy yourself some scarves. You know, it's a pageantry. It's a colourful pageantry, and you've got to be part of it. And get yourself a nice King Billy banner or something. There's a shop in East Belfast, the Union Jack shop. It's a fantastic shop for like flags and scarves and hats. And it's brilliant. All the British memorabilia you could ever wish for. It's in East Belfast, the Union Jack shop. The Union Jack shop in East Belfast. But there'll be people selling flags and scarves across Belfast. So get your colours, let people know who you support, and so you're colourful on the camera, you know, because it's a real.
Do you know, Paul? Let me ask you a question. Because when we was driving around earlier, obviously there's like there's big lakes and where the sea comes into Belfast, and there's big hills around the sides. These bonfires, did the ships come right into Belfast? These ships of William of Orange, and were the bonfires on the hills right above Belfast?
Well, the ships landed at a place called Carrickfergus, which is in Belfast Lock, just north of Belfast. That's where King Billy got off the ships. Now, a guy built a statue there to King Billy at Carrickfergus Castle. It's just north of Belfast. And people said to him, "Why have you made King Billy so small? Because he's only 5'2". And the guy who made the statue said, "Actually, I've made him big. King Billy was only 5 foot tall. That's why he's always sitting on his white horse, because he wants to be sort of seen big, you know." But so he landed at Carrickfergus and he marched down to Belfast. Now, there's a church at the heart of Belfast called St George's Church, which I've been in. And the seat where King Billy sat, he had a service in Belfast before he went on to the Battle of the Boyne. And the chair is still there in St George's Church. And I've sat in that chair and been photographed there. And he had a service there, and then he went south. Stromberg was his general, and he took the men of Ulster, Catholics. There were Catholics in his army, largely Protestant, Englishmen, an English army under the Duke of Marlborough, and a Dutch army, and they fought at the Battle of the Boyne. The French and the Irish were waiting for them, but the British and the Dutch prevailed, and he fled. Seamus, the Irish called him, Seamus the Cacketet, James the Shithead, because he cacked himself and he legged it back to Dublin. And it was a famous victory, and it established the island as a kingdom within the United Kingdom. And it brought peace to these islands for centuries, you know, and we prospered. Ireland prospered, you know, for a long time. And this is very important, because these battles gave us freedom. It created who we are. It gave us an identity. Even in the flag of the South, which is showing there, it's red, white. It's green, white, and orange to represent the 2 traditions in Ireland. We want people to come together again, but they don't have to forsake what they value in the past. I know the Greens, the Republicans, they remember their history. They remember their successes, 1916. We have to remember ours. But together, we have a new battle to fight now, a battle to defend the very existence of the peoples of these islands. So, yeah, remember the past, but come together in the future.
Craig's asking, do they still paint the curbstones red, white and blue? Well, Craig, I got told today by Pat that they do it in a lot of places. We didn't see any, but honestly, the side streets had Union Jack bunting up, not just on the main road. And every time we turned a corner and seen down a side street, had bunting up and Union Jack stuff. And I think I did see some painted curbs, but we were flying in the car. But amazing. Absolutely bloody amazing. I'm telling you, honestly, my heart were thumping today when we were doing that run. I couldn't stop talking about the flags. I couldn't. And then ignorant John, who don't know a lot, yeah, and I've just seen a St. George as well. And Pat, it's not St. George, John.
You're not far from the Shankill Road there, lads. The Shankill Road is to the west of Belfast city centre. If you go up to Shankill now, man alive, it'll be every pavement will be painted red, white and blue. The bunting will be out, the flags will be out. All the bands will be practicing and warming up. There'll be a real atmosphere there. If you go to East Belfast, all the pavements will be coloured red, white and blue. The flags will be out. The bands will be out. You see all the murals on the walls. Go to Sandy Row. You're not far from Sandy Row. You see the massive mural of King Billy. It's all lit up on the 12th. Right across Belfast, it's going to be alive all around tomorrow. It's going to be incredible.
I'll just go through the chat. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Craig, Ragnar, Arlene's on. Thanks, Arlene. Mark Williams, Fisher. There's a lot of stuff. Serena, we've seen Serena. She commented at the beginning. But thanks, everyone. Honestly, there's a load of stuff in the chat there about the history and all that. Thank you very much. That's great stuff. I'll read through that next couple of days when I'm home and go through some of the stuff. But we certainly will be doing another stream. I'm definitely going to ask Jolene tonight to come on in a couple of weeks. We'll get Paul on and we'll go through stuff again. We'll review.
Listen, guys, I don't know if you can hear me. You're frozen over. But get round Belfast. Go for a little walk around Belfast. Get out, guys. Go and visit a few pubs. Go and get the atmosphere in Belfast. It'll be terrific. And soak it up. You've got the Shankill Road. You can cross into East Belfast. You can go north up the Antrim Road. You can go south down the Omagh Road.
We're going to go now anyway.
See you, guys.
Thanks for coming on, Paul, and we'll catch up with you soon. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Don't forget all the information's phone numbers, our website address, and also our PayPal address, and email addresses as well. But thank you very much, and good night. And hopefully I'll be streaming tomorrow, and I'll be excited.
Beautiful. And its colours, they are fine. It was worn at Derry, Aughrim, Enniskillen and Boyne. My father wore it as a youth in the bygone days of yore. And it's on the 12th we love to wear the sash my father wore. Up the orange.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you, mate. Catch up soon.
See you soon.